We're here live at the official unveiling of the EBRD's first physical location in Sub-Saharan Africa, or specifically Nigeria, and we will be speaking with the leadership behind the vision. We'll be understanding how they intend to drive growth and how they intend to accelerate economic expansion across Africa. We'll be heading into a press briefing now to speak with the Vice President, the country head, and other executive leadership. Don't go anywhere.
Well, this is actually a testament of the fact that we are really serious and we are here to stay. Nigeria is one of the most important countries of operations in Sub-Saharan Africa. Nigeria is an important shareholder of the EBRD and will contribute to the governance of the EBRD, including in taking decisions about the projects that we conduct in Nigeria. And this is the case for every country of operation. It's a rule of the EBRD that in order to become a country of operation, any country needs to become a member before that. Sub-Saharan Africa is the future of the EBRD, and we plan to be very present in the economy in Nigeria, both in the private sector and in the public sector, but mainly focused on private sector development.
The investment roadmap, the recent announcement in Cote d'Ivoire with policymakers, right?
Yeah.
And this begs to ask, what's the plan for investments in Sub-Saharan Africa? You can start with Nigeria because this is where you have your office opened first. So talk to us about the investment plan for Nigeria and Sub-Saharan Africa in general.
So let me start with how we started operations in Nigeria. First of all, we have already 16 people on the ground, young Nigerian bankers and professionals that are scouting the market, originating transactions, executing some of them, and that will be also in charge of monitoring our portfolio. We have, I mentioned, an important project in the public sector in the fiber optic, but we have also supported FDIs in the region, including Nigeria, in the cashew nut value chain. We have concluded an important agreement with Access Bank on trade facilitation so that we can support import and export. We have a very strong pipeline for the rest of the year, and some of the pipeline will be brought to fruition in the next few weeks, and most importantly in the private sector. And it's going to be in agribusiness, in the telecom sector, in the high-tech sector, and in the mining sector.
Traditionally, EBRD has been known to work with the private sector. Now, in this SSA, how are you looking at? Are you ruling out any kind of collaboration with the government?
No, not at all. We indeed, you're right that we are focusing on the private sector. 75% of our activity is in the private sector, but we have the ability to work in the public sector whenever that helps creating the conditions for the private sector to thrive. And actually here in Nigeria, one of the first projects we have concluded is the support to the bridge program, which is the deployment of fiber optic over 90,000 kilometers. And we have supported the government on one side, and hopefully we're going to support also the private sector partner on the other side.
Talk to us about those critical sectors that the EBRD wants to give as the priority. We know quite a lot of investment goes into critical mineral processing, manufacturing, and trade as well. So run us through that and what companies, private sector, look out for in terms of trying to tap into the financing from the EBRD.
So in the private sector, we are really sector agnostic. We work in the agribusiness value chain, from primary farming to food processing to retail to manufacturing, services, indeed mining, and in particular natural resources when it comes to critical raw materials, but also the telecom sector, the real estate sector, in particular in affordable housing or in logistics, on commercial real estate. And we are very much also focused on supporting the SME sector, which is the engine of growth in a number of the countries where we operate, and in particular is the biggest employer in the countries where we operate. In the SME sector, we are active in terms of financing. typically partnering with the local banking system, because we finance the banks that then on lend to SMEs, but we also deploy risk-sharing products that take away the risk from the balance sheet of banks. And we couple this typically with technical assistance to SMEs so that they can improve their management practices, both in production or in marketing or in financial management, but also in governance.
We've seen in the past 1 year that Nigeria has implemented some really important economic reforms, things like the fuel subsidy removal, things like the foreign exchange liberalization. Past that have influenced the outlook of the EBRD.
The synergies between what the EBRD is and how the partnership with the country corporations where we operate is important. We have chosen Nigeria among the others exactly because we have seen the potential for future reforms and an evolution of the investment climate in the country. So everything you mentioned in terms of reform agenda, and even more that hopefully is going to happen in the next years, will contribute to our appetite to invest in Nigeria, which in turn hopefully will contribute to attracting FDIs in the country and will contribute to the development of local companies.
Given the inflationary trend and foreign exchange, which keeps moving here and there, what are your structured plans to ensure that the initial 150 million euro capital is able to withstand the volatility?
So we invest both in hard currency and in local currency typically. And we invest in hard currency with companies that have a natural hedge, so that they have an export activity that allows them to hedge naturally. And in local currency with those companies that typically have the entire profit and loss in their balance sheet in, for instance, in Nigeria, in naira. And we do that by partnering with the national bank, and so that we can activate swaps, for instance, or we were discussing this actually with the authorities in these days. Hopefully we're going to be in the condition to issue bonds in naira that would help us to deploy local currency.
The energy sector, for example, is very key when you talk about the growth of the economy. What's EBRD's plan?
This is very important for Nigeria, but it's also very important for the EBRD. Energy transition and energy security, which more often than not are really convergent, are one of the strategic priorities of the bank. So we hope to be able to work with the private sector in creating the conditions for the development of renewable energy in the country, in particular solar panels, solar power plants, possibly together with batteries, so that that provides also stabilization of production. And if need be, we are also standing ready to support grid enhancement projects if there is a need to reinforce the transmission system operator in order to dispatch the renewable energy that is going to be produced in the years to come.
How will Nigerians measure the impact of your work, the success of your work beyond the values of the deals that you sign? How do Nigerians get to measure the success of the work that you do?
So typically the EBRD works on two fronts. One is investments, the other one is policy engagement and technical assistance. And the policy engagement and technical assistance that we conduct in partnership with the government typically, it aims at improving the investment climate in the country. So you're absolutely right, the numbers don't tell you the entire story. I think in a country like Nigeria, given the demographics, given the size of the economy, numbers are extremely important. We need critical mass of investment on a run rate basis. But we also need to position the bank and as a thought leader in promoting reform agenda in sectors that are absolutely strategic for the country. And I'm thinking about attracting private sector in the development of infrastructure, and the infrastructural gap is very important, including in energy, but also economic governance, both in the private sector and in the public sector, in the private sector. But most importantly, inclusion, which also means financial inclusion, both regionally across the country, but also gender inclusion, youth inclusion. We need to create jobs in the country. We need to formalize the economy. In all of these, EBRD can play a role, and I think the success of the EBRD will be judged on this basis.
So there you have it, a clearer picture of what the EBRD has planned for Nigeria as a whole. We hope you're excited just as we are about the future of our continent and of our great country. I've been reporting live at BizWatch News. My name is Kende Victor. I'll see you around.